May 15th, National Restaurant Association is hosting its 90th convention in Chicago, Illinois. You're going to have manufacturers and restaurateurs from all over the globe passing on insights, spreading their knowledge from the back of the house to the front of the house. Food Channel is going to be there the entire time, capturing what's happening with these chefs. How do they take that information that's in their heads and transform it all the way to the front of their house? How do they delight their customers? How do you take this information, follow it on the Food Channel, and translate it over into your personal brand? What tools are you using to reinvent yourself and bring new life, not just to your menu, to your customers, but to the world? Tune in to the Food Channel. We are going to bring you Black Friday and show you how we take that information and enlighten the future. It is definitely bright. Our economy in the past has been from producer of goods and services to the consumer. What we see happening today is a network economy. The idea of being involved in a community, not just for personal satisfaction, but also for an expectation on word of mouth, return, and let's face it, butts in seat in your restaurant. You have to be involved in a network. People have an expectation now that they can have a relationship with a restaurateur with that foodie passion that's so much deeper than it was in the past. A one-way ad and a billboard aren't enough. Now you have to have yourself out there in this economy to have a return, to let the voices come back and play. The biggest pain in the food industry today is lack of vision. It's not that the economy has taken a turn. It's not that our goods and services cost so much more than they have in the past. Things change. They always will. The biggest thing that holds us down is ourselves. If we don't have a belief that we can change, then we will not create a vision for that pathway to change. The biggest thing that holds us back is ourselves. The recession will end. What's the one thing you can do today to prepare for that end is not build a brand that's a lost leader. Let's don't allow ourselves to take value down to a position that leaves us wanting more when we come out of the recession. If we're not serving the highest, best quality food for the lowest possible price now, that's understandable. But we can't simply take everything down to a lowest common denominator and expect people to have passion, love, and desire to return to us when they get a little more cash in their pocket. Quite often in business, people are heading down a pathway and then outside forces come in and create new opportunities. If we continue along the same paths, we often miss an opportunity, and sometimes we'll find ourselves not just irrelevant, but out of business altogether. So strategic inflection points are those changes in not just the atmosphere or the economy, but the overall marketplace that businesses have to be wary of, that they can act and move swiftly to gain new market perspective. In the marketplace today is the downward spiral of our economy. Check averages are off, consumer spending or trust is at an all-time low. I think it affects not just restaurant business, but overall everybody's business. If we aren't completely aware of what's happening in the marketplace, not just prepared for what that means today, but also in the future, well then we're not really keeping a close eye on what's happening economically. You know, I think that's interesting from the food consumer's point of view. Clearly, value is a key word that they are focused on in a large way, but what does value mean? Is it simply more food for my dollar, or does it mean that my money needs to carry me further than it has in the past? Not just I want something cheap and fill my stomach, but I expect more from what I'm spending today than what I spent even 6 months ago. You know, in the past, culinary tools would have been foodchannel.com and maybe, culinary delights, cookbooks. Today, the toolbox has another layer, several more drawers that are available to pull from. So not only do we take those wonderful resources we've had in the past, we also have a whole new level of social media that's given us tools that are accessed directly into how people talk, the feel, the way they're preparing food at home. Our toolbox today is multifaceted, and it's given us a depth of understanding that's better than we've ever had in the past. I think at all times you should weigh your risk versus your investment. but it seems like the genie has left the bottle. We can no longer just wish that these tools will not be a necessity in our business in the future. I'm not saying you have to jump in and adopt everything wholeheartedly, but you do have to understand who your partners are, how they are utilizing those tools, and how they are helping them return a greater investment for your time and your attention. Take your knowledge, increase it by having partners who are using these tools to reach the marketplace and to understand it. I think having a personal vision is incredibly important, not just allowing somebody to dictate what your vision is. In order to have a vision, you have to create your own set of themes. What are the things that I'm going to be identified with? How am I going to reinvent myself today, tomorrow, and on into the future? And more importantly, what do I mean what do my themes mean to me, and how does that help bring an entire company or a group of people along with me toward a bigger vision? I think it's more important than any other time in our past to recognize trends, to identify what they are today, where they could be tomorrow, and one of my favorite quotes, Alan Kay said it, is the best way to predict the future is to create it. If you're keeping your eye on what those key trends are, those macro forces that affect us, then you can find a place where your brand, your niche, or you personally can play and invent white space that you could own without anybody else having the opportunity to be there before you. You are a personal brand inside any company you decide to link yourself with. And I think as a chef or a restaurateur, you have an understanding of what it means to redevelop a menu, to redefine it. I think we need to consider, with that greater move of change occurring in the marketplace, is what's your personal menu? What are the tools that you need to employ? Are you contemporary? Are you fusion? Are you traditional? Are you old school and authentic? I mean, what's your personal menu? Quite often we need somebody from the outside looking in, but the truth is we need lots of input. We need lots of information to help us understand what our menu is and how it's differentiated from those other menus that are in the marketplace.